I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world, above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help, but no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm certain.
Oh ho ho, guess what everyone? It is time for the Smackdown Rewind. It is your boys from Dirt Sheet Radio. It's Cactus Sneak Bang Bang. And I am joined by some awesome people to cover this episode of WWE Smackdown, because it looks just like Smackdown, am I right? But yes, I am Nick Larocco, and I'm going to throw it on over to the boys in this very order. Mac, Robbie, CJ, introduce yourselves, guys.
If you see me hit my mute button, it's because I have a cough, and I don't care what you think about it. I watched Ghostbusters 2 today, and I am in a great mood.
Nice.
Wait a second, guys. This isn't the Dynamite recap show. It's SmackDown. Okay, it's your boy Robbie. Usually y'all see me here on Wednesday nights. Couldn't make it Wednesday, but I'm here tonight on Friday night, and I'm getting ready to finally cover SmackDown.
I am a longtime SmackDown enjoyer. Sometimes I used to do this more regularly, but I make the time every now and then. This just happens to be one of those times. So for the longtime viewers, hopefully welcome me back. To the viewers that have tuned in since in my absence, I look forward to pissing you off somehow.
Woohoo. Hey, how can you be pissed off when we are listening to some of that lore of the fighter, that good stuff, brought to you by Saskia Creations? Go and check that out on YouTube and or Spotify. Hey, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, how you want to listen to your music. It's your music. Go and listen to it however. But it's also like our friend John Escudero put in the little comments. He said, ho, 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 hoes, right? So let's pop on some jingly Christmas music as we get into the festive season. And while that's loading up, oh, wow, that's a jam. I wasn't expecting to go so hard. That's cool. But yeah, hey, guys, we'll get right into it. Undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes took on Chad Gable?
Chad Gable.
With American Made representing, coming out here for what was honestly the main event. It's exactly what you'd expect. You know, you never hit a Samoan wrestler in the head, and you never try to let your ankle be exposed to an Olympic wrestler. So Cody Rhodes was getting that ankle worked on heavily by Chad Gable throughout the match. Eventually, referee Jessica Carr just throws the Creeds out there and Ivy out, and eventually, Chad Gable looks to go and capitalize with another ankle lock, and I thought we were getting ready to have one of those legendary WrestleMania 20 Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle spots, but now the boot just completely goes right off, so he can absolutely torque that ankle. But Cody Rhodes stumbles through, and he is not going to let anything happen because we get that super Cody cutter, and it's time for a big crossroads. Gable actually hits a counter ankle lock, but Cody manages to get to the ropes because that's just what he does. And after reversal after reversal after reversal, we finally get a crossroads to end the match. Before we get to all the chaos and carnage following this, what do we think of the match overall, guys? CJ, you're the original. I want to go right to you.
Sure. I thought this was a really solid match. They did talk about it on commentary, but I wanted to highlight specifically the banner year that Chad Gable's had. Basically, since his matches with Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship really put the respect on his name that's been a long time coming. I thought this was an amazing match. Like, we knew what we were going to get out of Chad Gable. We knew what we were going to get out of Cody Rhodes. So they work really well together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mac Attack.
Dude, I love this match. Like, going into it, I was kind of like, you know, I'm kind of wearing down on the whole like Cody Rhodes like wrestling style, but when you put him in there with somebody whose styles just mesh really well together, you know, you come off. It came off like really well. You know, Cody was going to win. There was no way Gable was going to win. It was a typical SmackDown main event, but Gable, man, that inverted suplex from was it the top rope? It was the second rope, right?
Yeah, it was
from
high
the
up
second
there.
rope, dude. That was perfect. That was like the one that he put Andrade through in AEW, the flaming table. Well, Cody put himself through the table, but that was that was great, man. But that was great, and giving Gable the "You Suck" chant when he came out, it felt like old times. It felt like old SmackDown. It was. I gave it a solid 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it.
I agree with that. Smack Robbie.
When it comes down to CJ and Mac, I totally agree. This was a very solid main event. Both of those guys, they can really go. Those styles mesh pretty well. And one thing I do want to point out is Chad Gable, who's had a wonderful year for a while now, makes me wonder, when are they finally going to pull the trigger with Chad Gable and have him at least go for a singles title? He still hasn't won a singles title in the WWE yet. It makes me wonder, when are they going to pull that trigger? Because Chad Gable and Cody, they went at it. Honestly, I was waiting to see if there's going to be any shenanigans with Kevin Owens coming in during the match. But, however, the American Made was also, that faction is a nice little startup faction that needs a little bit more, especially with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile right there. Basically what it was, and as I also agree with too, was pretty predictable. We all knew Cody was going to win, but fun, solid match. And I will give Chad Gable a shout out for the way he took that crossroads in the end. He got
oh my god, Dude,
Oh, yeah.
right on his fucking head. It was awesome.
Bounced him like the Shorty G basketball, am I right? But no, guys, I have to agree all the way. This was very predictable, but why is that ever, a bad thing, right? And I think overall, this was a tremendous match. When you think of what, what a weekly show main event's going to look like, you have the world champion up against a literal Olympic caliber athlete. And, it books itself. I mean, it's such a great concept. It's such a great, match with two legitimate forces going into it. But the big thing going into it, speaking of which, would be the chaos that ruled the ring afterwards. While Cody Rhodes is nursing that injured ankle, Kevin Owens appears. A wild Kevin Owens has appeared, and he just stomps right onto that injured ankle while he's wearing a Dusty Rhodes t-shirt. And officials come out there. We have a bunch of we got the WCW boys here. We got to shout out the WCW representation. Am I right? We have Lil Nate trying to break it up. Gregory Helms, Jamie Noble was there. And of course, some other producers like Sean Devari, and was Kenny Dykstra there too? I don't remember, but we had quite the amount of people coming out there. And Cody Rhodes, injured ankle and all, he wasn't going to just let them break it up and let that be it. When Kevin rolled out of the ring, all of a sudden we just get a tope suicida from Cody with that injured ankle, and man, oh man, they kept fighting right up, almost right against the crowd barrier, and they were having a tough time pulling them apart. You could feel the intensity. That was fantastic, guys. What did we think of that overall? Same order as we did the main event.
Well, yeah, I think this was a hell of a way to hype the main event for, Saturday night's main event. And I think that if this really, and I mean, especially with one more SmackDown to go, if they are looking for a way to top this, they're just going to have to let them brawl. And then make their match some form of no disqualification.
Right.
Yeah. Look, when you get the Lee Fitting and Paul Levesque thing up on the screen, you're like 10 seconds away, and they were still brawling. They were still being pulled apart, and I was like, oh man, come on. But when it was crazy because the camera shot was really good because it showed Cody's face, and he looked up, and then all of a sudden you just see it looks up again, and there's Kevin Owens wearing the Dusty shirt, and he just steps on his ankle, and Cody just goes, ah! The camera work was really great. I don't miss Kevin Dunn at all because there would have been 250 camera changes during that. And I think there was maybe about 10, which wasn't bad for a minute and a half brawl.
Yeah.
Right.
And as what CJ was mentioning, this is a great way to build for Saturday night's main event. That is 1 week from tomorrow at this point in time. And when it comes down to how this rivalry had started and how it's progressed, we finally get that old Kevin Owens back that we missed for a long time with the prize fighter. For people who are new fans finally coming into WWE and tuning into SmackDown who don't know really that side of Kevin Owens, if you thought what he did tonight was horrific, you should see the stuff he did years ago and plus before he got the WWE, because the fact of the matter is, this has got me hyped for this match. We all know probably Cody's going to go over, but I think this won't be the last time we will see Kevin versus Cody. I think they are probably building another match going into Royal Rumble potentially. I think that's what they might do, or even for the next Saturday night's main event. But overall, that is how you build, and also presentation-wise, like Max said, tremendous. Don't ever bring back Kevin Dunn.
Yeah, we didn't feel nauseous getting through that segment thanks to no Kevin Dunn. But guys, we don't have anything else to. Yeah, what was that, CJ?
No, I was just gonna say, every time I think of Kevin Dunn, I think of the video of the cameraman following the chair shots that Seth Rollins was hitting. I think it was Drew McIntyre with.
Yeah.
And it's literally just this cameraman wildly swinging his camera back and forth. Funniest thing in the world. But I hated watching that as a fan, being like, oh God, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, dude, it like got worse over time as well, you know, and yeah, it just is like, Kevin Dunn, what are you thinking? So, you know, you never want to see people, you know, leave or quit or get fired from their jobs or anything like that. But in this instance, you know, I think it's definitely an improvement to the overall production quality of the whole show.
You know what the most glaring one? You know, when I think of Kevin Dunn, I think of the Kofi Mania match at WrestleMania 35 with Kofi and Bryan. When Kofi goes to hit the Trouble in Paradise, the camera changes 3 times from when he jumps in the air to when he kicks Bryan in the face. And then there's a perfect shot of Kofi hooking the leg and the referee counting, and it switches to the other side, and you don't see the referee hit 3, but you see the shot of Kofi going like this when he lets go of Bryan's leg. But I was like, dude, the camera changed like 5 times, and I'm not even joking, 10 seconds. I can't go back and watch that main event because of that.
It's so disorienting.
Yeah, let's not make this the Kevin Dunn cast.
I agree. I do want to end on this, though. I will still never forgive the man for cutting away from Edge's first spear.
Oh my God.
Since his
in
that Royal Rumble, like the worst cut ever, unforgivable.
And that was definitely the Kevin Dunn era, where they would just pan to the fans for no reason, and something big happens, or you see something happening, and they just go right to the fans. You're like, I want to pay attention to the match. I don't care how the fans are reacting. How about we know this after the match, not during?
Right. Or
I knew the first thing that Edge was going to do as soon as he got to that ring was hit a spear. I knew that. Every fan in the arena knew that. Kevin Dunn wouldn't know that if it crawled up his ass, came out his mouth, and yelled it at him.
And even every Edge head knew that.
Like, literally, it just boggles my mind how that man had a job for no other reason than Vince McMahon was allowing him to work there.
On that, because they replaced the footage of the Royal Rumble on the network with the camera didn't cut away. It went to an alternative angle, so it's still on the network like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, the good news, guys, Kevin's done. All right, and with that one, I will take us. All right, see you, everyone. That was a great way to end the show. But anyways, we'll take it right on back to the start of the show. But before we get right there, actually, we had some dark matches to look at. Nothing too crazy or anything, but we had Luke Gallows taking on Austin Theory. Very, right? That's an interesting one. We also had Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio and Otis versus Gunther.
Those
last two are bangers.
Awesome, yeah.
Absolutely. I just hope Luke Gallows went over in the Theory match. Thank you very much. And we also had Tape for Speed, Michin versus Ivy Nile. So they're getting their money's worth out of everyone that was present tonight.
For the Creed brothers.
Exactly. But hey, we opened the show. We have Solo Sikoa pushing his way past Apollo Crews, who's trying to do things the right way when entering the building, but Cruz asked Sikoa if he saw him standing right there, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, a boot to the face. Cruz is knocked down, and it's Jacob Fatu, and we also have Tama Tonga there, and they are just beating up every potential person and personnel, every backup wrestler, you name it. They're getting annihilated. Did Apollo deserve that? WWE's social media team didn't think so, and I have to agree, but it sucks that all he was used for was a boot to the face, because I personally like Apollo Crews. But you know what? I think this was a great way to kind of segue us into what we're going to be having as like a theme for later in the night of the Bloodline kicking ass and taking names.
So, Nick,
Yes.
PW Insider is reporting that that Tangaloa might miss 6 to 9 months with a torn bicep.
Jeez. The real
I thought it was his tricep.
No, it says bicep here.
They did say bicep on the show because it's...
Oh, I must have misheard then. I thought they said tricep.
It says Tangaloa torn bicep out indefinitely. PW Insider reports that Tangaloa was injured in the War Games match last weekend at Survivor Series and could miss up to, it says 6 to 9 months with the injury.
Okay, since we're talking about the injuries, real quick, the fact that they just full-on aired footage of limbs bending the wrong way on national television was, first of all, jarring, Second of all,
Agreed.
like, but was it like inappropriate? Because I mean, is this something that we see in other sports?
No. However, with how much they talk about the dangers of war games, I think this was the best possible opportunity that they had, especially as long as you get the consent for the guys to show off the injury, then
Yeah,
that's
that's what
all
I
I
was gonna say, too.
personally
Consent,
care
yeah.
about. But, if they did get that, which, again, I hope
Yeah.
they did, I
Yeah.
think this is great for going to show just how truly dangerous the structure of war games is,
Yeah.
submission
Exactly.
or surrender. So I think it definitely adds to the mystique and the whole gimmick itself. But, speaking of the injuries, we saw physically what happened with Big Bronson Reed, and I didn't even notice it during the show at all. No one on social media really shared much about it until WWE zoomed right in and highlighted exactly the way his feet just kind of twisted. It was like, ooh,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they just straight up showed the footage of it happening. Like,
Yeah.
I was not expecting to see Bronson Reed's foot going the
Every
way
which
it's
way.
not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for thanks for that scarring mental image.
I love how SmackDown was always in its whole history the PG show, and they're showing that. It's like, hey, want to watch Sid jump off the top rope?
Well,
Oh no. Oh, God.
But yeah, I mean, they also showed Jimmy Uso's broken toe. Jimmy Uso, sorry, I had to do it. And then they also showed the injury of Tongaloa after he was getting annihilated by CM Punk with that freaking toolbox. What was with Punk on that toolbox, man?
I laughed so hard watching that footage back because it's like I can see how he would have got injured, but just CM Punk going ham on him with a toolbox is just so fucking funny.
It's like I don't think of a toolbox, but I'm thinking of like standard like wrestling weaponry to use.
Well, if you remember in the War Games match, that's what the Hell in the Cell match, that's what busted Drew McIntyre open hard way, where he had to get 16 stitches. So I think Punk's weapon of choice from now on might be the toolbox to harken back to that feud.
That's perfect because CM Punk truly is a tool. All right. Anyways, that was for
Toolbox is
John.
an unsafe worker.
That was for John.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Nemeth.
Yes, justice for Ryan.
Oh God. Well,
That's a whole.
I am going nowhere near that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well, that
chat,
was
the
if you know, you know. Yeah, go ahead and check out the Dynamite recap and the flagship show. We'll talk all about that after this, of course. But getting back to it, American Nightmare, who had the main event, he was out there, and Rhodes was talking all about the history that is Saturday night's main event. He talks about his opponent, Kevin Owens, but doesn't really get to say too much because hey, it's Chad Gable and American Made. Again, sorry, WCW guys, I just keep wanting to say American males, but. American males. Chad Gable says he's the greatest athlete to ever come out of Minneapolis, which I believe is where they were, Minneapolis, Minnesota tonight. And he was here because they announced that transfer window. And I appreciated this little aspect of it, how you have the potential for trades now with the big the deals coming up with Netflix and the transitions and all the talk of a 3-hour SmackDown show down the road. So, you know what? Now is the time to really start getting things changed up. And I also really appreciate the aspect of, hey, you're here to talk with GM Nick Aldis. Want to wrestle a match too while you're here?
Yeah. The thing about that, the one thing about that promo that I liked, I had to watch that in the car because I was actually out. And shout out to John for getting me a link. I really appreciate it, John. You're the best. But is when he said, Cody, you're a bad friend. And he goes, I don't know anything about being a bad friend. All my friends turned on me, Otis, Maxine, so he's kind of doing like the whole delusional thing. And he goes, we've overcome a lot of things in our career. He goes, weren't you Shorty G? And I was like, oh my fucking God, he was Shorty G. Holy shit. With the big G on the singlet. And he goes, well, I'm used to overcoming adversity too. I was Stardust. And I was like, yes, the fuck you were.
Everyone's bad gimmicks. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he got that shit over.
Oh, yeah. But, I really like this segment. Dude, I'm all for Gable getting a push. Like Robbie and CJ said earlier, he showed the fuck out this year with Sami Zayn and all the Gunther matches and his what's his just acting work with the Otis and Maxine situation, and now being with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, who desperately needed something. They were good on their own, but they desperately needed something else. And I think if Gable goes to SmackDown, I could see them really like taking off in the future. I think there's more opportunities on SmackDown for them. It's a tighter show. I think it's a better roster, and I think I could see them being top players when it's all said and done.
I mean, dude, when the WWE draft, came back in 2016 and they had American Alpha drafted up there, it felt like a perfect fit. SmackDown, way back in the original WWE brand split, right? Like you had Kurt Angle on there. It just felt like that wrestling show, and it seemed like that was the direction they wanted it again. And Chad Gable felt like he was a true, currently on the roster there with, guys like Andrade and, the injured AJ Styles, So if he can come back on there and become a part of the SmackDown roster, absolutely, especially with the Creeds and Ivy Nile, that's just even better.
And plus, SmackDown is known for being the pathstone that everyone takes when you're first starting out. Especially back in the day, you look at the legends who started out on SmackDown. John Cena, even Randy Orton had started on SmackDown. And just seeing
Batista.
Yep, Batista as well. And Gable needs to go somewhere where he's going to be able to hone the craft a lot more. And I felt like SmackDown was always the better fit for him, especially when he was teaming up with Shelton Benjamin back in the day, going after the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It is now time to finally let Chad Gable finally be what he was supposed to be, and that was the next Kurt Angle. Now is the time to really let him go what he can do, and transferring or trading him over to SmackDown is the way to do it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. CJ, do you have any final points to throw on there?
Not really any that were said. I think that, I don't think I have anything else to add on it.
That's fair. So now we get over to time for the women's, as we got backstage Piper Niven and Chelsea Green jumping Bianca Belair after she accuses Piper Niven of being behind the attack of Jade Cargill from a couple weeks ago.
They beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, she got absolutely annihilated.
Dude, she got kicked in her stomach and she went flying against the wall. It's like, holy shit, dude.
Piper looked great doing that attack too.
Piper's great in everything that she does. Everything. She's so fucking good, dude.
Absolutely. And there wasn't much time for any help there because Naomi's out next for the match. It is the Women's United States title tournament, another triple threat as Naomi took on Tiffany Stratton, and Elektra Lopez. I don't think a single person had at all thought Elektra Lopez stood a chance at winning this match, but
no.
It could have been Naomi and it could have been Tiffy time. I could have gone either way there, but Tiffy felt like the right choice. But we had I would describe it as a match. I like the women going into it. I didn't care for the match personally. At the end, everyone was trading back and forth pin attempts. Naomi almost hits the moonsault, but Candice LeRae runs down and causes a distraction. Stratton hits the prettiest moonsault ever on Lopez for the victory. Winner, Tiffy time. Guys, what do we think of the match? Mac?
Dude, let me tell you something. They cut back to after the whole came back from commercial. When that "It's Tiffy time" hit, that crowd exploded.
Yeah,
it was crazy. And then when they announced her from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the crowd was like 100% behind her the entire time. You know what? I'm all for a good women's match. This was kind of borderline for me. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. It was really clunky at times. There was a couple of miscommunications, but never did I ever think that Tiffany wasn't winning this match. I think Naomi's going to be revealed as the attacker to Jade. So I think they're going to go Naomi Bianca, since Bianca is now out of the tournament since she went to go save Jade last week. But really wanted this to be a breakout for Elektra Lopez, kind of like the B-Fab match was that she was in with Candice and Bayley. But I don't think this was it.
No showcase.
Hey, listen. She's a very beautiful woman. She has a presence and an aura, but I think there is a reason why she hasn't been in the ring in a very, very, very long time, on TV. But yeah, the person who was supposed to win this match definitely won it. It also creates that interesting dynamic of her going far in the tournament and also having the briefcase. So you could see two-title Tiffy.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Robbie?
For me, the match, as everybody else said, it was kind of As Mac had brought up, it was definitely clunky at times. I definitely had Tiffany winning this. She has been riding a major wave, especially holding that Money in the Bank briefcase, teasing the cash in on Nia Jax. Who wouldn't go for Tiffany Stratton to move on to next week to the semifinals to face Michin? It is definitely a key marquee match for that semifinal for this tournament, but definitely, in my opinion, the worst triple threat match in that tournament by far. It was okay, very predictable, but as you mentioned earlier, Neek, it was one of these things where, how you said, how predictability can sometimes be good. In this case, predictability was bad in this case. Yeah. It was definitely an okay match, but hey, good for Tiffany winning in her home state. Keep riding that wave, and soon to be, more likely, a new women's champion coming our way, or even a United States champion coming our way as well.
Absolutely. CJ?
Y'all are absolutely fucking nuts. That match was awesome. I saw so much heavy hitting offense from all three women in this match. They all worked really well together. Like, the stomp on the apron from Tiffany to Naomi was intense. The slow down on the replay just to speed it regular speed and see just how intense it was. Like, they really did well with this match. I will say, though, that I wish we got to see more of Elektra Lopez in the ring. I think she needs a chance to stand out more than she does currently with Legato. But, their shine has kind of lost its luster, too. But, like I said, this match I thought was great, very entertaining. Tiffany nailed that moonsault in the finish and had that home state crowd and it was incredible. So props to her, and I think if they do decide to put the U.S. title on her, she's gonna carry it well.
I'd agree with that. And, just quickly looking at the brackets for the United States women's title tournament, semifinals are going to be Bayley versus Chelsea Green, and we're also going to have Tiffy Time versus Michin for the other semifinal. And then the finals, we get Saturday night's main event. So moving on to another kind of segment of another whodunit. Somebody had attacked the Street Profits.
Oh, Nick, you missed one thing, Nick.
Oh, what did I miss?
You missed them showing Jesse Ventura in the crowd and announcing that he will be the color commentator for Saturday night's main event, just like the old days.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. Great call, Mac. Yes. Jesse the Body Ventura.
Hopefully... I ain't got time to bleed.
Former governor of Minnesota.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. A huge pop when they showed him, too.
Yeah, so the Minnesotans clearly loved him just overall. How can you not, as Jesse the Body? But also, hopefully, he was a good governor for them. But yeah, I never really heard anything bad. But anyways, getting back to it though, somebody attacked the Street Profits. We don't necessarily know who, but Nick Aldis is getting really stressed out with all these mysterious attacks lately on SmackDown. And as he's running through there, he gets stopped by Mr. Johnny Gargano, and he's like, "Hey man, I know this is bad timing, but I'm willing to step up and be the challenger for MCMG. And the Motor City Machine Guns, they say, hey, it's our titles. We'll accept this. We'll do this. You're our boy, so we don't mind. So you could tell if you've watched wrestling long enough, you kind of know where this cookie crumbles.
Okay, but let me say one thing. So when I saw this, I went, okay, it was Ciampa. Fit right away. Then I saw Gargano, and I was like, oh man, I really want them to go Gargano versus Ciampa again and try to reignite that NXT feud. So I was ignoring my brain going, oh, Gargano's going to turn heel. I was ignoring it so hard. And I was just like, please be Ciampa, please be Ciampa, please be Ciampa. And then obviously we got our answer in a little while. But I was really doing mental gymnastics to try to what I wanted it to be when it was so blatantly obvious in my face what it actually was.
I was instantly just like, this is so sus that Gargano was right there for this very moment.
But what's so
fun?
Also,
Ciampa was in the background.
Lurking Ciampa.
I noticed him in the background behind Nick Aldis's head.
Yeah, I saw him when I rewatched the segment.
He's the watcher.
We definitely all know
everything is confirmed.
Yeah, we definitely know it was DIY, hands down, especially what we see later on. But who else was also sad, though, they weren't going to get Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns? Because I was so excited when that match was announced. I'm like, finally, I get this tag team match. And DIY takes it away from me.
And
I was so sad. I was so sad.
I was more bummed out by the loss of a genuine heel Street Profits. I think DIY would work well as a team or as a heel team, but I was more excited for a heel Street Profits than a heel DIY.
Yeah,
they've been stopping and starting on that for years, because remember when they joined Bobby Lashley, they were supposed to be like these, guys in suits, no nonsense, and then Bobby inexplicably went babyface when they were facing the New Testament, and then they just went right back to the old music and everything, and with the cups and the partying and everything. And they've shown a little bit of edge, but they were still faces. They were showing justifiable edge because Ciampa just kept fucking everything up. So they were showing justifiable logic, dude, we can't even have a match without this guy screwing it up. So I don't think it was so much them being heels. They were just frustrated baby faces, and it put a little bit more realism into their characters.
Right. Oh, absolutely. All right, well, if we didn't have anything else to throw out there, I do personally, I'm always a fan of those mystery whodunit segments. So, kudos to them for making another one, because it takes a lot of courage to run a couple of those at the same time.
On the same show.
On the same exact show, exactly. So, yeah, kudos to them for doing it and making it work. I think it worked. But, moving on, we had Bianca Belair taking on the one and only, the great Piper Niven. Belair still nursing some injured ribs from getting absolutely jumped. And wowza, does Belair keep trying her hardest to lift up Piper Niven throughout the match. You can definitely tell where this is going to be going throughout the towards the end of the match. But I have to say, Belair ran right into a amazing Big Boss Man slam from Piper Niven. Niven's like the master of that, post-Ray trailer. But, after the break, Niven crushes Belair with a couple sentons, and, it's very back and forth, and Belair keeps trying her best to, if she can't lift her with the injury, then she's going to try everything she can, be it across body, be it trying to mat wrestle, do whatever it takes for the bigger, stronger Piper Niven. But, eventually, Niven just gets Belair with a backdrop driver, and
dude, she killed her with that Saito suplex.
Dude, that was murder.
Dude,
I thought she broke her neck.
That so good.
So if you want to take someone out, that's the way to do it, man. But Belair ends up getting a counter spine buster, and I gotta say, that was a spine buster that would make Arn Anderson blush. But Piper Niven responds with a power bomb, and Belair kicked out. Green gets right up on the ropes as she does, but Belair throws her right out of the ring, and it's time to finally lift up Piper Niven. KOD right on top of Chelsea Green as the fans erupt. The winner, Bianca Belair. Guys, what do we think of this match?
Fear that Bianca hit was a little bit too high up on Piper. Almost hit her like right in the chest. Like that needs a little bit of work.
Sternum breaker.
She hit Chelsea. Chelsea like immediately grabbed her crotch, and I was like, "Oh no! I hope she didn't like tear her groin or something," because she was literally like this, and I was like, "Oh no! I hope she didn't like tear something, dude. That would suck." Because Piper's knee landed directly like on her inner thigh, and I was like, "Oh no!" And that was the only thing that I was concerned about, because we've seen Bianca hit her with the KOD before. It's old hat, but and I wasn't thinking that getting the win anyway, because it's Bianca and she's half of the tag champions and she's in a Scooby-Doo mystery backstage right now. So, dude, you can go back and watch our post recaps from SmackDown over the past year, and Piper Niven is just incredible in the ring. Like,
yeah.
she is what was to TNA at the time. Not as dominant, but in ring, she uses her size to her advantage, but she's also like deceivingly spry and deceivingly fast. And if she had hit that cannonball senton on Bianca in the corner, Bianca would have died and been buried. She put her whole, wrestlers know what moves they're going to hit and everything. And I'm sure Piper knew, okay, she's going to move out of the way, but she threw her entire soul into that cannonball and powerbombed. She landed on the second rope and powerbombed herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. But that Saito suplex, man. Oh my God. I had to look away. I was like, oh Jesus. And the way she sold it, like Cody said earlier, I thought she broke her neck. I was like, oh my God, that was so well done. And I went back and watched it again. I rewound it. She protected Belair so great in that match. Piper Niven is just, man, they got to strap something to her soon, dude, because she's way too good. Her and Chelsea, that team is just far and away one of my favorite things on SmackDown right now.
Oh yeah, man, here's one of the magical things about these two competitors in particular, I'd say, is we've seen these two wrestle how many times already, but it's never felt like, oh, okay, we have to deal with another one of these matches. Great. Yeah. But it's always they're going to bust some different stuff out for every match that they do. Obviously, you don't want to see it every single week going forward. It's the Rock and Ken Shamrock, right? But, the fact that we can see these two ladies just absolutely tear it up and just leave it all in the ring, and the fans will always love it. It just goes to show how great both of these women are. And another kudos to, like you said, Chelsea Green, because she also is such a major part of this whole aspect there with them and their chemistry in the ring. So, kudos to all three ladies, I'd say, for what they did out there.
Yeah.
Well, and even with Chelsea Green right now in the semifinals for the Women's U.S. Championship, is that going to that's just going to continue to be the next step in the evolution of Chelsea and Piper's tag team?
Oh, exactly. And remember too, Chelsea was able to secure the victory through the match previously with Bianca and Blair Davenport. So, there's already still that connection as well. And Robbie, any thoughts to throw out there with this match?
Honestly, as you guys were saying too, it was actually a pretty good match. Even though we've seen it before, they came up with more innovative ways to keep going. And this time around, I love the fact that Bianca is selling her War Games injury throughout the whole entirety of the match, making us think hey, can she really get Piper up with these hurt ribs? And the fact that the KOD was actually on top of Chelsea, great stuff. And what Max said, when it comes both to Chelsea and Piper, these guys are a unit. I want to see them do way more. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Chelsea win the United States Championship for the women, and Piper Niven at some point getting the Women's Intercontinental Championship at some point. Let them rule the mid card of the women's roster for a while, and then built them up to take over the future of the women's division. Piper can go. She's a great worker. And Chelsea Green, who has also had her chance and fame as well, like going through Tough Enough and then being cut by WWE once or twice, but making her name in the indies and then coming back as well. Time to pull the trigger on both of those women. They are great workers.
Absolutely. And, I want to give a quick shout out to when we had Bianca and Naomi talking backstage to who attacked Jade Cargill. And I love that we had a shout out to the gorilla position, because Nick Aldis said that there's no way that it could have been Piper Niven who attacked because she was in gorilla.
Can I also say that during this match, we had a classic spot that I love that you really don't see anymore. And it kind of harkened back to like my old, like 80s. I know I'm old. Saturday night's main event thing with the abdominal stretch.
Yes.
And Chelsea grabbing her arm and helping her. You almost never see the leveraged abdominal stretch anymore, and that really popped me. I was like, "Oh shit! Oh yeah."
Right. No, that's another deep cut right there.
That was, dude. Listen, I know I said it, and it's overdone, but Piper Niven is by far my favorite wrestler on the women's roster right now, because she's not wrestling all the time like Liv or Rhea or anybody else, but when she gets in there, and even if she has like 4 or 5 minutes, she always maximizes her minutes, and she's always a pleasure to watch. I fucking love Piper Niven, and I will scream it from the mountaintops.
Absolutely, man. I agree 100%. And, we want to talk about a force. The Dark Samurai Shinsuke Nakamura is here with his U.S. title. Shinsuke, man, he comes out with that blood moon, and it is just pure aura. That's all you can say as the man enters into that ringside area. And, he's got this whole presentation thing nailed down completely. Mm-hmm. Shout out, what was the guy's name? The one that worked on Bray Wyatt's gear, because he worked on Shinsuke's mask and presence and presentation.
Yeah, shout out to him. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
But yeah, so, of course, before Nakamura can say or do anything, it's time to meet L.A. Knight. Yeah! Knight, let me talk to you. Complains about losing that title to Shinsuke at Survivor Series. And L.A. Knight wants that rematch, and he wants it right here, right now.
He said, you're going to miss me? I'm going to put on the mist blockers.
Exactly. That is such a goated line right there. And speaking of goats, we had Andrade coming down, making his way to the ringside area, saying he also wants to take on Shinsuke Nakamura. And wow, Andrade and Shinsuke, that would be awesome. I want to see that one. But speaking of wanting to see stuff, the Outlaw Bloodline came out, and they wanted to get a kind of first-hand glimpse at everyone, so much so that they pretty much yanked Andrade off of the apron and shattered his glasses all along there. The freaking poor Andrade.
You broke my glasses.
So now this is going to probably be the next feud, as Tama Tonga just annihilated Andrade's glasses, and then all of a sudden, boom, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa jump into the ringside area. LA Knight and Andrade are kind of, enemy of my enemy is my friend here, trying to fight off the bloodline, but you can't stop Jacob Fatu. Samoan Werewolf is just a murderer, and you also got Tama Tonga, and got the delayed throw into Solo, then taking an extra couple seconds before hitting how he needs to Solo style. And I really appreciated this aspect where Shinsuke's just watching all of this happen, and eventually we get to the part where everyone's taken down, so now the bloodline surrounds Shinsuke, and he's just spewing that mist down. And we see that rare sight where Solo tells the Samoan Werewolf to, we're not going to handle this one.
I think that did a lot for Shinsuke. It might not actually lead anywhere, but I think Solo Sikoa showing maybe not fear, not scared, but showing Nakamura respect. Hey, we're the Outlaw Bloodline. We're going to kick the shit out of anybody, anywhere, anytime until we are the only bloodline left. And for them to look at Nakamura and for him to hold back Jacob and then go Okay, yeah, and have him leave like, even Solo, even though Solo's, not the tribal chief, like he's a pretender and everything, and he got pinned in War Games, but him showing respect to Shinsuke did a lot in my mind. Like, oh shit, dude, like he's a big deal now.
It's those subtle things because we've seen Jacob Fatu annihilate every single possible person you could think of, including former WWE and World Heavyweight champions, and legends as well. So the fact that this is a guy where it says, okay, you probably could take him on, but now we're gonna give him that mutual respect. Plus, we don't know what he's capable of. He's on a whole other playing field. We'll just let this one go. I admire things like that. It's the subtleties that I really like.
Dude, they're beating up their family. They're trying to like kill their family in kayfabe, and he showed respect to like Nakamura. It's like crazy. It's like, yeah, I'll put my brother's head in a chair and run and give him the flying Samoan ass drop in the corner. But no, you know what? Get out of here.
I almost thought that there was going to be some sort of like a makeshift alliance forming there.
That's what I was thinking too.
I was like, oh my god, are they Bronson Reeding fucking Shinsuke? I was like, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool because like they're all wearing the same like very like dark colors with like the crimson red.
Do you think this was the setup to get LA Knight maybe away from Nakamura and maybe have him like feud with the Bloodline now? So maybe next week you get like Jacob and Tama Tonga versus LA Knight and Andrade.
Absolutely.
No,
I can definitely see that.
Hard disagree. I think it's essentially what it feels like they're doing is let's separate this into its two halves. You have the United States champion, you have the former champion wanting his rematch, and you have another potential challenger. I think if you look at that in itself, you're looking at the US title picture going forward. Then you have that story becomes the set dressing to the Bloodline again. They come out, they attack whoever's in the ring. Of course, they let Shinsuke go because he's the heel. But then you have the Bloodline story takes over once they've decimated the other two. So I doubt there's going to be a deeper story. Maybe there is. I don't see there being a 6-man tag or even just a regular tag, but if they do, it's not going to lead to anything.
I feel like you have to do a 6-man tag just to address the fact that you guys jumped us. We're not gonna be a buster and just let that happen because you've had Andrade, LA Knight, and then earlier in the night, Apollo Crews get jumped. So I'm easily seeing next week we're going to probably get a 6-man tag of Solo and Fatu and Tama Tonga taking on everyone that was jumped tonight. And I could see then from there those three guys because they're all legitimate contenders for the U.S. title. I'm sure Shinsuke, having had that mutual respect from them and having contendership here, I think we're going to be able to merge all these ideas together and have Shinsuke just watching the 6-man tag from afar.
Now, if you have LA Knight come out next week and not even address that he got beat down by the Bloodline, he looks like a fucking jabroni. So, he's not just going to come out and go, yeah, I want my U.S. title, and not mention him like he has to. Like, that's his character. Like, he doesn't, like, he wants, like, revenge. Like, he's the bravado. He's the guy. It's kind of like if you had, like, if you were talking to somebody and someone ran up and punched you in the back of the head and ran away and you didn't see them for a week later, and then you were just like, and you saw them and you just didn't even like acknowledge that they punched you in the head, like you're a jabroni, dude. Like you got to say something, like go stand up for yourself. So even if they're taking this other path with the Bloodline for maybe like 1 or 2 weeks or maybe even like a month or something like that, like I wouldn't mind it. I don't foresee them winning the feud because I think they're going to keep the Bloodline strong for whatever's going to happen next. But having LA Knight and maybe somebody like Apollo and Andrade mixed in with the Bloodline just to get that shine from the main event group, I think even if they lose, I think is beneficial to them.
Yeah, and plus with how Triple H has been doing with his long-term storytelling for the last 2 years, one thing we got to look at is when do we foresee Roman Reigns even coming back to SmackDown at this point, because we definitely know that this thing ain't done between the OG bloodline and the bootleg bloodline, so to speak. So at that point, you can have those fillers with LA Knight and Andrade coming on SmackDown, because we don't got the Royal Rumble until February as well, and we don't know when Roman's work dates at this point is. Because honestly, I don't foresee Roman coming back till Royal Rumble time at this point. So, just like in all great animes, just like in all great TV shows, sometimes you need a filler to help you lead into what's in the bigger picture. And I think LA Knight and Andrade and Apollo Crews, that wouldn't be a bad idea to do, especially when you got 2 Saturday nights main events coming up.
Yeah, that's true. You need to fill the card. Yep.
Absolutely, that's the
Yeah, in case you missed that, that's there's a second one in January.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and San
right up
Antonio,
into
right?
the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
It's still so wild to me that the Royal Rumble's in February. That just doesn't feel right.
I was
It
just
does
about
not.
to say that, Nick. You read my mind. I was just about to say that.
Man, let me tell you, like, the fact that we get a Royal Rumble in February before Chicagoland gets a Royal Rumble, I'm so upset. I am mad. Never once
kidding me?
has Rumble been in Chicago. That's wild.
Dude,
Wow, the music's
I
getting
live
great.
in Canada.
Yeah, there we go.
Toronto,
Sorry, everyone.
right?
We had a little bit of technical difficulties there with the music, but getting
Our
that fixed up.
referee's trying to fuck on me.
All right, we are back.
All right.
All right, so getting back to it, we had for the tag team titles, the MCMG Motor City Machine Guns defended against
Raise your fist.
DIY, doing a very heroic thing to step up to the plate because somebody had to go and attack the Street Profits. So, you know what? Good on DIY for stepping in and covering for them. Great stuff. And, you know, we get into this match, and quite frankly, you know, how could you not like, you know, these 4 guys wrestling together? All of them have really, you know, cut their teeth outside of WWE in so many different promotions. There's probably, what, like 100 years of in-ring experience in this ring with these 4 guys.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know, absolutely incredible what these guys can do with one another in the ring. And, you know, we continue to see that division kind of growing between Ciampa and Gargano, and it definitely seems like this is it. This is where they're going to split up. And right when get an accidental kick of Gargano right off the apron, Ciampa is now getting completely outnumbered and overwhelmed by the machine guns. And it seems like Ciampa's getting ready to walk on out, but instead, hey, he's got a steel chair, and the ref's distracted, and Gargano is the one who turns around and hits Alex Shelley with a low blow.
While they were going for Skull and Bones.
Exactly. And while this is going on, Saban's up top, and he's just like, I don't believe this. What's going on? This wasn't supposed to happen. And they did it. They swerved everyone, bro. It was a big swerve.
Gargano hit that huge super. As soon as Shelley jumped down and his feet landed on the canvas, Gargano was already in mid super kick and just super kicked the dog shit out of Shelley.
Shelley
and then Ciampa with the tag, and Gargano turns around and goes, this towel's like, oh my god, dude, this is so good.
This was it. Meet in the middle, and that's a victory for some new tag team champions. Hashtag DIY. Guys,
discourse online from this saying that the tag team titles are being hot potatoed on SmackDown, that there's been 3 champions in the past month and a half, and I was saying, like, okay, then go watch Raw where they defended the titles one time in 105 days. Like, seriously, like, you want tag team wrestling, you have tag team wrestling. You have the Street Profits. You have the Bloodline. Well, not the Bloodline, but you can do Tama Tonga now and Jacob Fatu. You have DIY, the Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, the Bloodline, any other tag team that you want to throw in there, you know. Vince McMahon hated tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
It's known. It's been said by wrestlers. It's been said by executives. Like, it's known.
It was a segue just to get 1 or 2 single stars over.
Dude,
exactly.
I want to tell you something. I was looking at Cage Match the other day. I don't remember what it was, but I do these match of the days on my Instagram, and I was looking at one, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock versus the Big Boss Man and Undertaker. And I was like, oh my God, that seems like a really good match. Let me go find it and watch it. I watched it. It lasted 2 minutes and 5 seconds and ended in a no contest on a Monday Night Raw. And I was like, wow, that's really disappointing. But now you have people bitching, like you have a good 15-minute tag match at the 9 o'clock at the top of the hour. And people still bitch. I'm like, dude, you wanted tag team wrestling all these years. Oh, Vince doesn't care about tag. Now you got it. You still bitch. It's like, I can't take anybody seriously anymore.
Again, too, because you've got one of the most legendary tag teams in professional wrestling history up against two legends themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Like, you're going to complain about this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, we all know it. It's the IWC. The IWC is going to find something to whine and cry and bitch about. It's never black and white. Nobody's ever in the gray. It's always just how it is. And I can't believe that people cried for tag team wrestling for so fucking long, and then when they finally get it, they reject it. It's so similar to when everybody wanted back in 2020. They wanted Drew McIntyre to main event WrestleMania and get the world championship. And then within like a month being like, oh, we're tired of this already. Please strip him of the title. Like, really? It's one of those ordeals of it's professional wrestling. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. There's something called an off button. Just click it. If not, shut up and enjoy wrestling. At the end of the day, it's what it's all about. It's professional wrestling, whether you like it or not.
And you know what's so great about this whole entire thing? Candice LeRae can start hanging out with her husband again.
Exactly. And we saw that later on.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Maybe at some point in the way.
This match was great.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This match was great. The storytelling in this match, Ciampa's acting, Gargano's acting, it was all great. I loved it. I think Gargano was hamming it up a little bit too much because he's been Johnny Sameface for his whole career. But I really am excited to see what they're going to do with a heel DIY because, I mean, I know we saw it in NXT with Ciampa being the heel the whole time, and then Ciampa got turned on by Gargano when they got back together, and they did that whole thing. They did the whole PC battle during the pandemic and everything, but they've never been heel at the same time. So I would like to see this.
Absolutely, this is going to be absolutely tremendous. And I want to do a quick around the table. I was personally caught off guard and swerved by this. You guys?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, I was lying to myself, but I was,
Yeah.
I was expecting Ciampa to turn around and hit Gargano with a chair.
Right.
I didn't expect a low blow right then and there. But
I was just like, what?
When was the last time we got the both of them as heels as well? All I'm praying to God is there's going to be no the away reunion where Austin Theory's going to join back with them and then fucking Grayson Waller comes back. As soon as you do that, that heel turn is killed. So please keep that away.
Yeah, keep them away from them, yeah.
But the funny thing is we finally get to see Gargano and Ciampa heel in the main roster. For those who don't watch NXT, you're in a world for a treat because when those two are heel, it's kind of fun actually.
100%. It really was, I would say, the highlight of Ciampa's NXT career for sure. Not quite the highlight of Johnny's, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, well, Ciampa getting injured and having to relinquish the title, and then him and Adam Cole having those two glorified, indie matches, for the title. One I was at the Connecticut one where Cole finally won the title, and I got to see the Street Profits win a 4-way ladder match for the NXT tag titles. But at least I can say I was at a 5-star match, so at least I got that under my belt.
Oh yeah, shake hands. But we get on to the finale here. Kevin Owens was supposed to have an interview inside the building with Michael Cole, but why would he want to do that? So he's just not. And instead, Michael Cole needs to go out there to him, where we've had people referring to this as the rental car confessions. Michael Cole goes out to the parking lot to speak, and I was so afraid for Michael Cole. I'm flashing back to Michael Cole and Heidenreich, and I'm thinking of the amount of times Undertaker's kidnapped someone in a hearse. So I'm just like, nothing
Where
good
to,
ever
Michael?
Exactly. I was thinking like, oh no, Michael. Maggle, where's JBL?
I was thinking
You
the
know
whole
what
time, oh god, he's gonna get JR'd, isn't he? He's gonna light him on fire, isn't he? He's gonna get JR'd now.
Oh no.
God.
The worst part of this was for me is when Kevin was like, "Get in the car, Michael." And Michael goes, "No, I don't want to get in the car." He goes, "Get in the car. It's cold out. I have it at a nice 65 in here." I was like, 65?
And it's just the way he's luring Cole into the car. I was getting like, this is getting a little uncomfortable. But you know,
I mean, I like. You know what, dude? Kevin's right. Right. Crazy thinking Kevin's right.
No, I actually completely agree with you. He is right.
Yeah, 100%. Like
Mhm.
he is very justified in his actions, and the
Exactly.
way he laid it out for Michael Cole was nothing short of like the delivery was nothing short of magnificent.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens has always been an incredibly underrated performer, and I'm glad that he's getting the chance to really, really shine under Triple H.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I just don't see how Cody's the good guy in this. I really don't. Like Kevin said, like they put a whole video package together a couple weeks ago saying, you know, Kevin Owens for 4 years by himself with no help fought all the members of the bloodline, even Sammy, and they threw him off. They threw him off of the Thunderdome thing through a table, hit him with a golf cart, tied him to the ropes, and super kicked him like 280 times. Like legitimately, like tried to end his career.
They even
And he goes,
handcuffed him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he goes, I was in the ring with you at WrestleMania 39 trying to help you win that title. He goes, I was there at WrestleMania 40 trying to help you win that title. He goes, we finally took Roman Reigns down. He goes, and we did it together. He goes, but you came in and you picked up the scraps when I was already in the process of getting rid of Roman Reigns. He goes, you didn't have to do anything. He goes, I did all the legwork. He goes, and now that he's back, he goes, you're trying to get him back in power. He goes, what did I fight for 4 years for? You know, and he's absolutely right.
And I'm going to add this too, because they're also discussing this on Monday Night Raw with Seth Rollins of why he's so pissed off at guys like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. You know, it said with the whole thing with Jey, it's just family. There is something in the lines of we're now seeing that there's people now turning on people who are going to align themselves with Roman Reigns because of that work. Kevin's ideals, the reason why I agree with Mac and CJ was saying they're right, it all lines up of what Seth had to say on Monday, and that is, why are you going to sit there and team with a guy who for 4 fucking years had tried to make our lives miserable? And that when as soon as he said everything about Cody, I'm like, Kevin actually makes sense. Like, Kevin was the one in the Royal Rumble in 2020 getting handcuffed to a post during the COVID times and trying to feud with Roman and try and get to the title and just wasn't able to do it. While Cody just came back, because he even mentioned and he shot at Cody by saying, you left in 2016. I didn't leave. I stayed here. And you basically, as Max said, picked up the scraps. And anybody in the right mind, at some point in time, I think we are going to try to see people now starting to take sides. It's either you're with Roman or you're with Seth and Kevin. And then whoever doesn't go out with those two, that's who you're feuding with at this point. Because it's going for the same thing over with Monday Night Raw with Seth and Sami Zayn and Jey Uso and all of them. And it's exact same thing going on SmackDown with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. And everybody knows at this point, Randy Orton now is lurking into the skies too. Where's Randy on all this too?
He's going to be at Saturday night's main event. He's going to cost Kevin. They're probably leading to maybe Kevin and Randy at WrestleMania. Like at first, I really thought that they might give the title to Kevin, but they're not going to, and it's going to hurt his character. I
don't think it's going to hurt his character.
I mean, dude, how many times has he gone for the title now? He fought Roman for 4 years. He lost every single time. He's fought Cody Rhodes once now for the title. He lost. And now he's going into Saturday night's main event. And I don't see them taking the... Listen, I wanted to see them take the title off of Cody during the last match that him and Kevin had. I really wanted Kevin to win the title, and then they could have hot-shotted it back to Cody, and it wouldn't have hurt. I don't think you need to have these year-long title reigns now that you just had Roman holding the title for 4.5 years. I don't see the need for Cody to hold it for a year and a half, 2 years. Like, he already finished the story. We know that he's a credible champion. We know he's a great wrestler, great personality, great humanitarian, and for all intents and purposes, a great human being. Like, you can still be the face of the company chasing the title. And I think that's where people are getting a little bit annoyed with Cody now. Like, we all know what happens. A guy gets a title and then people turn on him. You know, we all know how that happens. But I feel like when Cody was in the chase, he was a lot better. And I think that even if they hotshot the title to Kevin on Saturday night's main event and Cody wins it back at the Rumble, it does wonders for Kevin, doesn't hurt Cody, and then Cody can go right back on his path to WrestleMania with Rock or Roman or whoever else.
And also, to add in what Mac was saying, too, if you look at the last time Kevin Owens was even a champion, it was the
2016.
Era... 2016. And sadly, what happened with Kevin Owens? He got squashed by fucking Goldberg. And ever since then, Vince never gave him a chance to come back as world champion. It has been that fucking long. When can we see Kevin Owens get something?
Vince said that Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had the worst WrestleMania match he's ever seen.
It disgusted him vehemently. And
And
I'm sure Kevin Owens was lucky to get that Stone Cold match during that time frame.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that was his reward for signing a new 5-year deal right around that time. I'm pretty sure they said, "Hey, sign a new 5-year deal with us. We'll let you and Austin brawl all over the arena for 30 minutes."
Exactly. Pending Stone Cold, who was getting a lot of cold feet leading up to that.
Yeah, I know.
No,
in all honesty, though, if Owens doesn't go over Saturday night's main event, I want Owens to get traded to Raw so he can go get the Workman's title and the World Heavyweight Championship just for him to get something.
Gunther talking to Nick Aldis.
So this was right where the segue is going to be, right here. Speaking of potential trades, we had Gunther leaving the office of Nick Aldis, potentially working out the deal of a trade, maybe. I think Netflix really wants Cody Rhodes over there, Cody Raheem Rhodes. So, hey, maybe Gunther bringing the World Heavyweight title to SmackDown. That's got a lot of precedent there. I've always appreciated when the World Heavyweight, the big gold, was on the SmackDown, the blue brand. It always felt like a perfect fit to me. So let's do it.
SmackDown.
Pull it.
SmackDown. This is why I'm on the SmackDown recap and not the Raw recap, right? I love SmackDown, but Raw is... That's why it got the $500 million deal or whatever with Netflix. That's why it's going there. That's why they played like 18 advertisements, the same 18 advertisements tonight on SmackDown for, you know, the doom, you know. But being on SmackDown when Netflix is investing $500 million into Monday Night Raw does not feel... Gunther does not feel like a Netflix like main champion. Switching the belts, much like they did with Batista going to SmackDown and John Cena going to Raw, it just felt right. When I saw Gunther talking to Nick Aldis tonight, I went, you know what? That World Heavyweight title on SmackDown, not even just because of the history that the World Heavyweight Championship has on SmackDown, Gunther just felt right.
Yeah.
It just felt right there. Not because he's a secondary champion or anything like that. I still think that Gunther's the world champion and nothing can take that away from him. Not even these marks online saying that he's boring or whatever, you know, when they were crying for him to win the title 8 months ago. But it just feels like Cody belongs on Raw with the main title and Gunther belongs on SmackDown with all the workhorses with the Workhorse Championship.
Because why? Because Gunther is indeed the ring general. He is the workhorse of WWE by far.
Yep.
Exactly. I agree. And connecting into the same segment, we also had Mello going face to face with Gunther right there, to which then Mello goes to talk to Nick Aldis and say, "Hey man, like listen, I was a top draft pick for SmackDown, but Monday Night Mello sounds pretty good." And Nick Aldis really doesn't care. He does not give a single dang for Carmelo. So instead, he's going to pop him in a match soon with a mystery opponent. We thinking Gunther? We thinking some other potential surprise?
Yeah, I could see Mello going up against Gunther. I think that match would be great.
Yeah,
You know, dude,
It'll be
people
great,
seem
yeah.
to forget. Yeah, people seem to forget because he stumbled kind of out of the gate, and he's always bringing up that he was the number one SmackDown champion. But I mean, the SmackDown draft pick.
yeah.
But those 7 matches with Andrade, even though I think that they were booked terribly, with like the U.S. title shots in the middle when it should have been at the end, and then never having a definitive winner. But man, he balled the fuck out in those matches, man. Like, this dude is good. This guy was the NXT champion for a year for a reason. You know, like, I remember I used to watch Mello when he was Christian Casanova wrestle in Maine for Limitless Wrestling, and he was the Limitless Wrestling champion. And this guy, you just knew he had it. He had the looks, the aura, the moves, everything. You knew he was going to be a star. So I'm really hoping that whoever they have Mello face, seems like he's going to lose because he's the cocky heel that you want to see get beat. I really hope he shows out because he deserves it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure whoever he ends up facing, he will show out. Because, like you said, he has done some tremendous work since he's been on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought, his promo delivery still feels a little too forced. So hopefully they put some work into him as far as that goes.
Here's my idea of who could be facing Mello. Now, this transfer window, guys, this isn't just between Raw and SmackDown. So I've seen on the social media post, it is also with NXT as well with Ava Raine.
Right.
Tomorrow is deadline. Depending on how that NXT title match goes, what if Trick doesn't win, we renew the old rivalry and Trick Williams ends up on SmackDown next week to face Carmelo Hayes, and we get another banger out of those two.
Trick on SmackDown would be absolutely sick.
Oh yeah,
He would do very well.
Absolutely. I would see from that, that previous SmackDown appearance, the whole crowd got behind him just out of the blue, out of nowhere. And yeah, he's got star power written all over him. He's going to do tremendous on that main roster.
Absolutely.
Oh
and then
God.
we've been saying the same thing on Tuesday nights. Like, that is how good he is.
Yes.
Genuinely, like, he's been ready for the main roster. In my opinion, I'd say for about the last 9 to 10 months when he was NXT champion the first time.
Now, I will say this, though. I will miss, if he does get called up, I will miss Booker T's little commentary in the background of
I will not.
Trick.
That has been the bane of my goddamn existence
Booker T
ever
is the
since
worst
he started doing it. Thank you, Mac. I cannot stress enough just how much it adds nothing to the hype that Trick Williams generates on his own. His commentary overall has been not compelling in any way. We are going on so far down an NXT rabbit hole. We should just get back to talking about SmackDown.
Yeah, that's on Tuesdays.
Shout out to Trick Williams with his CZW Academy background.
Yes, that is true. He does have a background in that, doesn't he?
Video on right after the Bloodline segment when they were leaving the ring. This video is courtesy of Esteban Conderas on Twitter. He's at ECBITW. He says to Jacob Fatu, as Jacob Fatu's walking by him, "You suck, Jacob." And Jacob goes, "Your mama sucked my dick."
Oh.
So I don't know if you can hear this. Hold on, let me see if you can hear.
Where's our truth to say that? It's not even PG.
Something.
Hold on, here it'll play again. Hold on.
It's really a new era.
I was sent that in a DM, so I appreciate my buddy John sending me that in a DM. But yeah, back to you guys. Sorry, I just thought that was funny.
All right, guys. Any last final thoughts for this episode of SmackDown?
He sucks.
Not really.
All right, well, hey. All right, well, let's get into those fun segments real quick. We're hitting an hour 30, so I say we'll just lightning round these, trying to throw a name out there, and we'll move on to the next person. We'll do it. I'll start, and then I'll pick a random person, and then you guys, whoever goes on next, will pick whoever. So we'll go with the Jobber of the Night, powered by comicbookclick.com. Jobber of the Night, who do we got? I'm gonna have to say, unfortunately, Elektra Lopez. Robbie.
For me, because they didn't want to fulfill my dream, Street Profits.
All right. We got to pick someone now.
So I'm going to go with Elektra Lopez because I was expecting her to show out. She didn't.
All right. Cody.
I'm picking whoever made the decision to show the graphic brutal injuries as they happened from Survivor Series. I cringed so fucking hard both times. It was just like I had to text my dad and be like, hey, just so you know, this is going to happen because sometimes my mom's in the room when he watches wrestling, and if she's looking at the screen, she's gonna lose her mind.
Yeah. All right, and we'll be looking now to the other side of the spectrum, the Megastar of the Night, presented by the Cold Case Project. Go check it out on YouTube and Spotify. We'll do the same order as we did previously. Megastar of the Night, I'm going to be looking right there at DIY. I was not expecting that. They swerved me. Robbie?
For me, it's the prize fighter himself, Kevin Owens.
Good choice. Mac?
Oh, can we talk about just 1 second? Can we talk about when Kevin called Michael Cole back to the window and he just rolled it up?
Just to roll it back up.
That was so fucking savage.
I love the quote, you don't have any friends. That's why you don't understand what betrayal is.
Yeah. And then the crowd popped huge. Like, you could hear them all laugh. It was so funny. But my Megastar of the Night's Piper Niven. She's fucking great. I love her. I love watching her matches. I think she's great, and I hope she is having the greatest night of her life right now.
Absolutely. Cody?
CJ, but I gotta give it, to DIY. They got me as well, and I'm not disinterested to see what a heel DIY is going to do, but at the same time, we just got a new, like a heel New Day, so it feels like we're treading a little too much of the same waters here, but we'll see what happens. I'm invested either way.
Absolutely. All right, then we'll get to the match of the night. Yeah, same order. Honestly, when I'm looking through everything, I'm going to be going with that main event. Cody and Chad Gable absolutely killed it, in my opinion.
And then for me, it's going to have to be the tag team title match between the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY as well. It was a fantastic way to turn Gargano and Ciampa heel, and they swerved us. What more can you ask for? Great wrestling and great storytelling. That's what WWE's for.
Yeah, I'm going with the tag title match, too. I thought it was great. I thought there was great storytelling, great acting, and I successfully tricked my brain into believing that Johnny Gargano was going to do the right thing, and when he didn't, I was like, oh!
I think I'm going to kind of swerve you guys here. I'm going to give it to Bianca and Piper. They had an absolute banger, and I thought it was match of the night worthy.
Nice.
I have to agree with all of those picks. You know, honestly, through and through, this was a tremendous episode of SmackDown. And honestly, top to bottom, if you're looking to rewatch it, if you're joining us to kind of get an idea of how the show went, I'd say fantastic SmackDown. Definitely give it a watch.
It was fun. That was the first time I watched SmackDown since the Go Home show for SummerSlam in 2022, and I even had fun.
Absolutely. And hey, chat, if you had fun hanging out with us, we had a lot of fun hanging out. Hey, listen to that. That's Laura the Fighter. Guess what? It's Dirt Sheet Radio. We're always on, so you can go and check us out throughout the week. We're going to be on Monday nights for the Raw recap. We're, of course, going to be on Tuesdays for NXT. Wednesdays, your boys are right here for the Dynamite post-show rewind. And hey, if you want to stick around a little bit later after that, there's the fun midnight show where it's myself, John, and Greg, and occasionally Max there with us.
I'll
and
be
we're
on
going to
this
be
week.
talking. Yes, let's go. And we're going to be talking a lot of professional wrestling news. And going back to Dynamite, we got an
I'll be on that
upcoming
too.
super show with Mac and Mama Morocco.
Oh,
So huge news. Ooh, we're going to have a lot going on there. And if you want to talk about Impact, TNA Impact every Thursday, you're here for SmackDown. You know this is on. Come back next week. We'll talk a lot more about that. Hey, remember CJ and Tyler? They're going to be talking a lot of wrestling in the near future. CJ, any update on that?
No.
All right.
Too much to get into.
That's absolutely fair. We also, of course, got the boys at 3NT. Go and check them out. They're going to be talking a lot of pro wrestling. And we had 3 members of the WCW recap team where we talked about this past month. We talked all about Halloween Havoc 1998. Look at how beautiful that stage is. The event itself, not so beautiful. So, was this as good as we remember? Was it as bad as we remember? Who knows? Go check it out. We'll be talking about all of the news heading into and out of the event. And coming up soon, boys, have we decided on Starrcade 97?
so we
I'm
have.
going to go for it. Starrcade 97.
There's a lot surrounding Hogan and Sting and creative control and somebody not being tan enough. So I think there's a lot. I think that this is going to be a long one, maybe 2 hours. So we'll be doing the WCW 1997 recap very soon. I'm on vacation starting Wednesday. I'm going to watch it Wednesday. We're going to tape it and probably do it on Friday before SmackDown next week.
All right. Well, hey, go and just spend some time, hang out with us. We're going to be talking all about Starrcade 97. But for myself, for Mac, for Robbie, for CJ, this is Nick Larocco, and we'll be signing off, chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Have a tremendous weekend. Stay safe. We love you. You're awesome. You're cool. And all of that good stuff.
WWE Deadline streaming tomorrow.
Yes, and go check out the Deadline stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.